Hey, what's up here on a Thursday afternoon? I am so psyched from a business perspective as to what's happening. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to endure a lot of pain with what's on the horizon. It's coming. There's no way. It's seemingly we're going to stop it. At this point, I'm not even going to go back to the Rona board because it doesn't seem to matter. Now it's game time. Now we have to understand what we need to do as real estate investors and proponents of, affordable housing here in Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and Boca, and point south into Miami. It's game time. It's time to make money. What's about to happen is going to set us back. Well, actually not set us back. It's going to set the market back really, really bad. And get your ducks in a row. It's coming. People are ignoring the data. They're ignoring the information that the data has been skewed and that there's been a bunch of fraudulent miscalculations, which is just a nice way of saying it, that just may have been some of the most insidious stuff that we've seen, all because it's politically motivated. But there's nothing we can do about that. We don't control, at least I don't control what a city or municipality does in regards to news that they want to believe. I mean, they don't even want to send kids to school. It's crazy. So I'm just going to jump right into real estate. I want to talk to investors. I want to talk to people who have money parked. I want to talk to people who want to learn how to get 8, 10, 11% return on their money. This is the time. This is absolutely the time. And I don't care if people call me a bottom dweller or whatever, that kind of stuff. I don't mind. Catfish tastes really, really good. And the only people I have to answer to are Lord above and my wife. Other than that, that's it. And the investors that I end up working with and the investors who fund these deals, because the only thing that's really going to be making any sense in the next couple weeks, months ahead is investing in real estate. There's going to be nothing else that's going to have the stability and guaranteed rate of returns like investing in real estate. Nothing. Not the stock market, not normal businesses out there. Real estate. Real estate is going to be the bedrock, as it has been forever. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on, and let's really dig into it. So today on the South Florida Business Journal, their lead story was officials consider shutting down non-essential businesses again as the COVID-19 cases as the cases soar. They are stuck on cases. They're not going to budge from it. They feel that for whatever reason, it's cases that are driving everything. They don't want to hear the data. They don't want to know about. They're just going to go with cases. If we got a bunch of cases, we got a big problem. That's fine. At this point, that's fine. Now we play the cards that we've been dealt. And luckily, we've been dealt a very, very prosperous hand if we take advantage of it. Seriously, this is a money-making bonanza for those who want to avail themselves of the opportunity. So in reading this article, and just make sure my head's not in the way, they're talking about the possibility of another shutdown of non-essential businesses due to the soaring cases. And they make a whole bunch of excuses in here as to why they think they need to shut down. And that's fine. They're saying that hospitals are at 95% capacity. They're not comparing it to what normally is capacity. How many of the people in the ICUs are actually from COVID and other reasons for being in the hospital. Not even taking that into account. That was the Miami-Dade. And then here comes the quote that really has to get you ready. It says, I expect in the next week or two we'll have to order another complete shutdown in Broward. Did you read that? I expect in the next week or so, maybe a week or two, we'll have to order another complete shutdown in Broward. Miami-Dade will be there a week or so before us, and you can best guarantee that Palm Beach County is right behind Broward. How do they know? How do they know in 2 weeks they're going to have to shut down the economy again? I mean, I've talked many, many times to people here. Many of my shows I have sat here and spoke to, and I've said, who has a crystal ball? Who's got this whammy of a crystal ball that's looking into things and saying, hey, listen, I think in a week or two, we're going to shut down everything again. What happens in a week or two? Is there something happening that might be happening in Miami early, mid-August? Think. What's happening in Miami that they may have to shut everything down so that it doesn't occur? I'm going to let you do some due diligence. Nah, I'll friggin' tell you right now. It's a presidential debate in Miami. That's been in the crosshairs for quite some time. That's, in my opinion, what this all is about. Shut down that debate and also shut down the convention in Jacksonville a couple weeks after that. They're using this information for a political reasoning just to try and inhibit the candidate they don't want in office. But forget all that. That's just political stuff. Everyone will have their opinion. The bottom line is they're going to shut down businesses again in the next week or two. He says it right here. In the next week or two, we'll have to order another complete shutdown in Broward. And Miami-Dade will be there a week before us. Not partial, complete. They're going to make everybody go home if you're not non-essential. And if you don't have a pool in the backyard, forget about it, because I guarantee you part of this will be they'll close the beaches. If Miami-Dade closes their beaches, then Broward will close because they don't want the influx of people from Miami-Dade. If Miami-Dade and Broward close their beaches, then Palm Beach is going to close their beaches because they don't want people coming up from Miami and Broward. It's this domino effect, and we're going to be right back where we were a couple months ago. You don't need any data to understand what's going on here. You've seen story after story that the numbers are being played with. You're seeing story after story that cases are way up, but deaths are way down. Nobody cares. Doesn't really matter. We got to stop this thing right now, whatever this thing is. So in the interim, what we're seeing is people are losing their shirt. People are losing their businesses. People are not going to be able to afford to live. On the same front page of the story here, they're talking about turning outdoor parking spaces into dining areas. But that's not going to matter because they're going to shut everything down. And these people aren't going to be able to afford anything. Then what happens? Then I see this article that Miami has decided to shut down short-term rentals. Actually, they're going after the Airbnb and Vrbo market. So there's not going to be any place for anybody to go. So we know what's happening next. We know, and we can pretty much rest assured, if that's going to happen, if they are going to look at shutting things down, it just seems inevitable that DeSantis will have to issue another moratorium on evictions and foreclosures for another 30, 45 days. Now this treadmill that people are on is just getting harder, and the incline is going up. Now we're seeing a 45-degree incline because some of these people, as I showed you yesterday, 32% of people didn't make a payment in July. 32%. It was at 30 or 31 in June. It was 24 in April. And it's going steadily up. So we're probably going to see people not make payments. Maybe 35% of people not making payments in August. By August 9th or 10th, we're going to see that. And if they shut down the economy again, I guarantee you're going to see a higher rate of people not making their August payments. What are these people going to do? The meter is still running. Nobody is turning off the meter. So if you haven't paid in April, May, June, July, August, April, May, June, July, 5 months of arrearage. 5 months. So if people couldn't afford to pay the rent and the evictions inevitably are going to be starting, where are those people going to go? How are these landlords going to survive? Imagine, is every bank going to do a mortgage forbearance program? Everybody isn't going to have to pay their mortgage? Well, if that's true, a forbearance, they're not wiping it. They're just tacking it on to the end of the loan. But what does that matter? How does that matter if you're not going to be able to pay it anyway? We're seeing restaurants shut down. We're seeing businesses just go out of business. Millions of dollars in debt. They're done. They're just completely done. People are going to have to sell their houses for whatever equity they can get to put in their pocket. People are going to have to sell properties just so that their families can eat, because they're not going to meet that threshold I showed you yesterday for the stimulus package. What's $1,200 going to do to somebody who has a nut monthly of 10, 15, 20 grand? It's not going to do anything. That's where we come in. That's where we as investors have to understand without any doubt that now is the time to begin buying. As Warren has said, and I keep saying it almost every day on this show, be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. We don't have anything but fear going on right now. There's nothing, if you just check Twitter, whether they're real or not, you check Facebook, there's nothing but fear on one side anyways. And these people are going to get so far behind, there's no clear way for them to overcome what's ahead. The only thing they can do is roll the dice and hope that DeSantis does another moratorium, or extends it rather, for another month. Doesn't stop the pain. It's just basically a short-term Band-Aid. But people are terrified. They're going to lose their jobs. What are they going to do? Well, and that's not even counting the people who are going to be fleeing from New York, or who are fleeing from New York. I'm going to have an entire show about that tomorrow. Who are fleeing from New York, coming down here looking for places to live. Perfect storm. Perfect storm of real estate investment opportunity. But you have to have a thick skin. You have to be in a position where you understand that this market and the nuances of the market dictate that you buy low. That you come in and demand deals that allow you to get the cap rate even on duplexes, triplexes, and quads. Maybe even on single family. You got to be able to guarantee that you're going to hit your cap rate. You don't want to be in a position where you've got to begin evictions and foreclosures all over again. You need to know that whatever you do with these properties that are going to be out there. Now it's a time, there's been so many times that realtors tell me, lowball offers, lowball. You're not going to get any other kind of offers at this point. I don't know what's going to happen 2, 3, 4 months from now. Do you? Do you have that crystal ball we've always been talking about every day? How are you going to know what's going to be happening? I don't. There's just no possible way for us to determine what's going to be happening in 3 or 4 months. Just not going to happen. Now, some people have a problem with what Warren says. I don't. I think that's the only way out. I think that's the only way forward at this point, is to be greedy while these people are being fearful. I don't see how there's any other way for the economy and the near future to have any stability moving forward. We've got to buy. We've got to buy things, and we have to be quite ruthless. I'm not saying being ruthless to people, but in order to pick up the properties that we want to pick up, we're going to have to be quite ruthless with our bidding. and understand and be able to do the due diligence and look at what's going on behind a property. Now, another story came out which kind of dovetails off of all this stuff, is that the only way I foresee there being the ability to move forward in real estate for the next 3-6 months is by going after the affordable housing market. And that's because with a duplex and a tri and a quad, I can pretty much make sure that I meet the rate of return that I'm expecting. If I can buy a quad for $350, if I can put people in there who are going to pay me $1,250 to $400 a month, and I'm bringing in, $4,400 less taxes, insurance, etc. Now I can guarantee to my investors an 8 to 9% or 10% return on their money, and it keeps the investors interested, and it allows people who are in trouble to get some housing. So this article came out. South Florida residents need to make between, this is Channel 7 SVN News in Miami. Florida residents need to make between $29 and $31 an hour to comfortably afford rent. Who's making that? Who's going to be the people that are going to make that amount of money? Not your executives. It's going to be your service personnel and things of that nature. And even then, it's stretching it. It is definitely going to stretch it. And so as it goes down here, it breaks it out. And it says, let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit for you guys. And it says that, and this is striking. Let me just put that there. It is recommended that a Florida resident make $24 an hour or a yearly salary of $50,000, almost $51,000, in order to comfortably afford a 2-bedroom apartment or home. The report calculates the average price of a 2-bedroom home at $1,270. Now think about that. If the average 2-bedroom property that they're talking about that somebody can actually afford is $1,270 a month, you're not going to make it back on a single family house unless you're offsetting those losses by some gains elsewhere. Putting people into a single family home and charging them $1,270 ain't going to make it. However, if I've got a triplex and that $1,270 times 3 is $3,700 or so, and I'm buying that property at a reasonable price that I can get that 8, 9, 10% return, now we're talking. That's why I'm buying quads, duplexes, and triplexes, because I know people are going to need this, and I know that those properties are out there, and we're going to have a bunch of people who need that. So where am I getting this giant swath of people who I can guarantee the money to my investors? See, tenants whose rent is guaranteed, and it will be guaranteed regardless who wins the next election. That's the idea. I'm looking at this long-term play, and my idea for investors is you got to be politically agnostic. You have to look at the playing field here agnostically. Don't look at, okay, if this guy wins, this. No. What's not going to change? And what's not going to change is a Section 8 subsidies. Whether Biden wins or Trump wins, that's your gold mine. I've held that back for a number of weeks because I just wanted to make sure we were in a position to take advantage of as much of this as possible. But right now, I've contacted the various housing departments in and around South Florida. They have a backlog of people looking for properties right now. Those people aren't going to be displaced. People with a Section 8 voucher, they're good. But there's a whole bunch more waiting list trying to get someplace. You see the opportunity here? Some of these people can spend up to $1,500, $1,700 a month guaranteed by the government. That's not going to change. I don't care if Biden's president. I don't care if Trump's president. Trump's been doing this stuff here with affordable housing. Biden just wants to, whatever he's going to do, is just going to extend it. This is your gold mine. Your gold mine is going to be Section 8. Who the heck is going to pay, going to be able to pay based upon a $50,000 salary to get into a property? You're there ain't a whole lot of housekeepers and lawn people who can justify $50,000, unless, of course, they're on Section 8 affordable housing subsidies. That's how we're working with investors. So if you're an investor and you want to know how we're doing this, give me a call, and I would be glad to tell you how we're putting these things together and these deals together so that we can, of course, move people into these Section 8 properties. These Section 8 properties are the gold mine moving forward. As Wayne Gretzky has said he said it once, but it's been said many times, you don't skate to where the puck is, you skate to where the puck is going to be. So, yeah, I think now I can pretty much feel confident that I do have a crystal ball. I do have an idea where things are going. People can't afford to live down here without these government subsidies. So, in essence, what we're going to be doing is facilitating the government providing these people with the subsidies to have some place to live. Is it bottom feeding? I don't know. I just know that when I keep seeing everything about shutdowns and I keep seeing everything about people not having jobs, the risk of doing a deal where you've got to rent to somebody on an open market is terrifying. I know my investors do not want to lose money. I know for a fact that the reason why they get involved in real estate dealing is because they get the return of 8, 9, 10% annually. They can't get that in the bank. They can sometimes get in the stock market, but it's quite volatile. A guaranteed monthly payment every single month with a check with the president's name on it or Treasury Secretary, or a wire going right into your deposit, into your account every first or fifth month. You don't have to chase anybody down for rents. You don't have to wonder if there's going to be a late payment. Nothing. You go ahead and screen your tenants. Make sure they're the right people, good people in bad situations. You don't want the losers in there that are going to tear up the place. You do all your screening. That's what we do. We look to see who these people are, if they're working, how many people are moving into the house. Do an unannounced visit as to where they live right now. Find out how they're going to take care of your property, and you have a gold mine. I'm telling you, it's an absolute gold mine. So I'm looking at this, who made this chart, and this chart was made by the National Low Income Housing Coalition. They're the ones who put together this article as information as to where people need to be able to afford someplace to live. The National Low Income Housing Coalition. It's being set up, people. They're laying out the plan in front of you. You don't need to fight it. You just need to get in step with it and understand we need to be able to buy as many triplexes, quads, and duplexes as we possibly can. Negotiate them down so that we've got the right rate of return on the cap rate for these properties. And there's just going to be just a crazy amount of available subsidized tenants. That's where we want to be. So looking at this report, and it says, and let me see if I need to blow this up any further. So the FMR, which is the fair market rent for a 2-bedroom apartment, is $1,270. $1,270 is that's for the whole country or state. Down here, there are some affordable housing programs where people are getting as much as $1,400 a month for a 2-bedroom unit. Now that duplex and triplex that may have 321s, and you've got $4,400, take out your taxes, your insurance, you won't really have any vacancy. But I understand from the pro forma perspective that you're going to want to keep a vacancy number in there, but that's okay. If I'm getting $48,000 a year of income on a property that we picked up for $250 or $270, that's a home run for everybody. You can't deny that. Those are the kind of deals we're looking at. I don't want any market rate deals. I'm not looking for those. I'm looking for deals that these people can be put into. These are the deals that these people need to be able to move into a property. And the Section 8 numbers are even higher. We're shutting down. They're saying in a week or two, it's going to happen again. Everyone who's got a property on the MLS right now is in deep, deep trouble. They won't be able to show the properties. They may already be behind on their mortgages. They may have tenants in these properties who haven't paid. They can't evict them. It's the perfect storm. This is the time when we make money. And if you don't want to tell people, just understand, Warren has said it many, many times. This is the time. Be greedy when others are fearful. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid at all. Call me if you'd like to see how we're putting these deals together and structuring a fund so that we can take down as many of these properties as we can. I'm telling you, this is the way forward, and I'm looking to do business with anybody who's got the wherewithal and stomach to deal with this type of real estate investment. Affordable housing deals here in South Florida, opportunity zone stuff that we can put together. That's where your money's going to be for the next, I'd say, probably year. It's going to take that long. If they keep shutting down the economy, it's just going to keep happening. So now, as we get ready to shut down in 2 weeks or so, be ready. Be ready. It's going to happen. It's not an if. Just watch the stories in the newspaper. Watch how this restaurant and that restaurant are going out of business, and they employed 50 or 60 people. Gone. And how Joe's Garage, gone. Garages I think are considered essential businesses. But the carnage is going to be great. It's going to be huge. I don't mean great in terms of I want to see people hurt. I mean great in terms of the size of the carnage. Somebody has to be there to pick things up. There's got to be firemen on the ready to come in and say, hey, listen, that house right there, it's in big trouble. I understand, Mr. Smith, that you're in trouble. You're never going to be able to pay your mortgage. Here's what I'll offer you. You've got some equity. Take this check and bounce and take care of your family. Or take this check, stay here. Now, let me determine what I think you need to be paying me. Sound harsh? Being greedy when others are fearful. That's the key right now. And it's not for everybody, so I know we've got a tremendous amount of opportunity here in South Florida to really generate some profit. And the more we can take down, the more properties we can take down, the more people we can help. The more people we can help, the more profit there is. So go ahead and give me a call if you're interested in finding out more about how my funds are going to work and how the deals I structure are going to be put in place. I'd love to speak with you. I'd love to talk to you about what we have to offer. But be ready. Whatever you're doing, be ready. Whether it's with me or somebody else, it's coming. The tsunami is going to happen. And now, right now, is when we need to be, as real estate investors and people in the real estate game,